Somewhere in your kitchen right now, there is a drawer that has already given up. You know the one? It's full of dead batteries, mystery keys, and a single chopstick. And that drawer is a warning, because today we're going to find out what happens if you listen to the little voice that says, I might need this someday, and you never, ever throw anything away again. Not the chopstick, not the banana peel, not anything. Ready? Let's ruin your house. Let's start small. This morning you finish a banana. Normally the peel goes in the trash. Today it does not. Today the peel goes on the counter because we have made a promise and we are people of our word. That's one peel. No big deal. But here's the thing about garbage. It is extremely good at making friends. By lunch, the peel has a used tea bag and an empty yogurt cup keeping it company. By dinner, there is a small committee forming near the sink, and none of them are leaving, because that's the rule now. Nothing leaves. Every wrapper, every receipt, every twist tie, every one of those little plastic tabs that keep bread bags closed. You are keeping all of them, forever. Somewhere in the world, bread tab collectors are cheering. Everyone else is concerned. Let's do the math on just 1 week. The average person throws away about 4.5 pounds of trash every single day. That's a bag of flour. Every day. So in 1 week, you have personally generated over 30 pounds of stuff that used to be invisible to you. But now it's not invisible. Now it's on the couch. By the end of month 1, your kitchen has stopped being a kitchen. It is now a landfill with a nice view. And you've learned something horrible. Garbage has a smell, and the smell has a schedule. First comes sour, then comes sweet. Then comes a third smell that scientists have not named because nobody volunteered to go back in and study it. The fridge is the first thing to betray you. Because a fridge is really just a box that slows down the smell, and now the box is full, and the door won't close. And the thing inside is starting to feel less like leftovers and more like a roommate. You don't open the fridge anymore. You negotiate with it. And here's the part nobody warns you about. Some of this stuff is never going to break down. Not in your lifetime. Not in your grandkids' lifetime. That banana peel from day 1? That'll rot in a few weeks, fine. But that yogurt cup next to it will still be a yogurt cup in 450 years. It will outlive you, your children, and the entire concept of yogurt. A glass bottle? Scientists estimate it could take up to 1,000,000 years to break down. 1,000,000 years. Your recycling has a longer life expectancy than our entire species has existed. Sleep on that, if you can find the bed. Speaking of the bed, by month 3, you can't. The hallway's gone. The spare room went first, obviously, because that's what spare rooms are for. But now the trash is doing something genuinely unsettling. It's forming layers, like rock, like the walls of the Grand Canyon, except instead of ancient rivers, it's ancient takeout. And this is real. Archaeologists have a name for exactly this. They call it a midden. A midden is basically an ancient trash heap, and it turns out old garbage is one of the best ways we know to understand how people lived. Future archaeologists digging through your living room would learn that you loved energy drinks, feared commitment, and owned 11 phone chargers for phones you no longer own. You are becoming a historical site. Congratulations. But let's zoom out, because one house is nothing. What if it wasn't just you? What if your whole city stopped throwing things away on the same day? Well, we actually have a preview of that. In 1968, garbage collectors in New York City went on strike. For 9 days, nobody picked up the trash. 9 days, and nearly 100,000 tons of garbage piled up on the sidewalks. Rats threw what can only be described as a festival. The mayor declared a state of emergency over literal trash. 9 days, now imagine forever. Because the truth is, the reason your city looks clean isn't that people don't make garbage. It's that an invisible army hauls it somewhere else every single week, and you were never supposed to think about where. So where does it go? Time to find out. And I have to warn you, it does not get less weird from here. Most of it goes to a landfill. And a modern landfill is not just a hole with junk in it. It's engineered. There's a plastic liner at the bottom to stop poison from leaking into the groundwater. There are pipes that suck out gas. Because buried garbage, packed tight with no air, doesn't really rot the normal way. It kind of just sits there, mummified. People have dug into old landfills and pulled out newspapers from 50 years ago that you could still read. Hot dogs that still look like hot dogs. Corn on the cob, still on the cob, still yellow. The landfill doesn't destroy your trash. It preserves it, like a museum nobody wants to visit. And all that gas the pipes are sucking out, that's methane. Rotting garbage burps out enormous amounts of it, and methane is a greenhouse gas dozens of times more powerful than carbon dioxide. So your forgotten leftovers are, very quietly, cooking the planet from beyond the grave, in a hole that we dug on purpose. Okay, but surely we could just throw it in the ocean, right? Out of sight, out of mind? We tried. Sort of. And the ocean has receipts. Here's a number that should not be real. Every single minute, roughly a garbage truck's worth of plastic gets dumped into the ocean. Not per day, per minute. While you've been watching this video, a small fleet of imaginary trucks has already backed up to the sea and tipped. Out in the Pacific, there's a spot where the currents swirl in a giant slow circle, and everything that floats gets pulled into the middle and stuck there. We call it the Great Pacific Garbage Patch, and people imagine an island of bottles you could walk on, but it's actually creepier than that. It's mostly a soup. Trillions of tiny broken down plastic bits spread across an area estimated to be twice the size of Texas. You can sail right through it and barely see it. It's everywhere and nowhere, which is somehow worse. And that plastic doesn't disappear. It just gets smaller and smaller until it's small enough for a fish to eat, and then the fish gets eaten. And I want you to really follow this next part, because this is the twist the whole video has been building to. The plastic comes home. Scientists keep finding tiny plastic particles inside people, in our blood, in our lungs. Some studies suggest the average person might be eating a credit card's worth of plastic every week. You threw it away. It went to the ocean. It became a fish. The fish became dinner. And now it's you. The trash you were so proud of getting rid of took the scenic route and came right back. You never actually threw anything away. Nobody has. Away isn't a place. It was never a place. It's just somewhere you're not looking. So let's go all the way. What if nobody on Earth threw anything away, ever again, starting now? Humans produce over 2 billion tons of trash a year. 2 billion. It's hard to even picture that, so let's try. If you loaded all of it onto trucks and lined them up bumper to bumper, that line of garbage trucks would wrap all the way around the planet. Not once, multiple times, every year. A ribbon of trash strangling the entire globe, and we make a brand new one every 12 months. Stack a year of it up, and you'd have mountains. Real ones. There's a landfill outside New York that got so tall, it was one of the largest human-made structures on Earth. So big you could see it from space. A mountain range made of us. Made of things we decided for 1 second that we didn't want. And if none of it ever left, if it just kept coming, the cities fill first, then the deserts, because we always use the deserts. Then the oceans thicken, and eventually you'd be able to draw a new map of the world, except the borders aren't between countries. They're between what used to be nature and what is now, permanently, our stuff. But here's where I have to stop scaring you, because there's a genuinely hopeful ending hiding in all this. Nature already figured this out. For most of history, there was no such thing as garbage. A dead leaf falls, bugs eat it, it becomes soil, a tree eats the soil, the tree grows a new leaf. Nothing is thrown away because nothing is waste. It's all just moving through the loop. The only species that ever invented a way was us. And we invented it about 100 years ago, right when we started making things that were designed to be used once and then vanish. Except they don't vanish. That was the lie the whole time. So what if you never threw anything away? The answer's a little uncomfortable. You already don't. None of us do. Every peel and bottle and bread tab you've ever tossed is still out there, somewhere, being someone else's problem, or slowly becoming yours again. But knowing that is the whole point, because the moment away stops being magic, you start to see the loop. You start buying the thing that lasts instead of the thing that vanishes. You compost the peel, and it becomes dirt instead of methane. You keep the jar instead of the 11 chargers. And the trash heap in your living room, the one we spent this whole video building, quietly gets smaller. Turns out the drawer full of dead batteries and one lonely chopstick wasn't a warning. It was a tiny museum of every decision you've ever made. Maybe don't be afraid of it. Just maybe keep it small. We get curious about random stuff so you don't have to. Subscribe and feed your idle curiosity.